Have you ever driven over a highway bridge and couldn't help but look below? Or stood on a shoreline's rocky ridge just to watch the water flow? And count yourself as one of the few with a different set of dreams, the kind that keeps you up at night, 'cause you can't wait to get to that stream. It's more than a river. It's more than the water flowing or where it's going. It's the grip on the paddle and the shit in the saddle, the V in the boulders and the lean in the shoulders. When you reach for the eddy, it doesn't get better than this. Yes, it's so much more than a river.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live with Cross Currents Leadership. We are rounding out our winter live stream series through the month of March, live on Substack, YouTube, and Facebook for just 15 minutes at a pop, 2 nights a week. And we're talking to experts across paddle sports and outdoor recreation to give us those golden nuggets to help us level up our paddle sports leadership for 2026. We have a particularly fun guest tonight. I'm so stoked to welcome Deborah Kane, the founder of RallyCrew. Deborah, thank you for making time for us tonight.
Of course. So glad to be here.
So everybody, Deborah and I have crossed paths several times over the years. We both come from a club background, and Deborah in far more leadership positions than me. She is the past president of the Lower Columbia Canoe Club in Oregon. And, you know, just as a starting point, Deborah, why don't we sort of walk through how you kind of came through that experience as a club leader to end up founding RallyCrew?
Sure. So, you got it exactly right. I was the president of the Lower Columbia Canoe Club, which is based in Portland, Oregon. We have members all throughout Oregon and Washington, and I served in that role probably for 3 or 4 years. And while in that role, I observed a lot, actually, about how people come to the sport. And in my case, we're talking about whitewater kayaking or whitewater canoeing, how people come to the sport, what kinds of gaps. I was observing a lot of gaps with regard to how do they gain skills, how do they find people to go boating with, how do they even know what's going on in the whitewater world. And so while it was the experience with the club that helped me understand where the gaps were, you know, on one hand, it's sort of the classic entrepreneur's dilemma, you know, if you want to call me an entrepreneur for having built RallyCrew, but I built RallyCrew basically just to solve problems that I was having. You know, I wanted to find instructors. I wanted to find courses. I wanted to find people to go paddling with. And I wanted to do it, and this is ironic to say since we're on Facebook, but I wanted to do it on a platform not called Facebook. Right. Because that's the other thing that I was observing in the club context, you know, the ways in which, and I'm sure this is true for clubs all across the country, probably across the world, but it's like, you know, if you have 400 members in your club, 100 of them love Facebook, 100 of them want you to talk to them on WhatsApp, and 100 want you to talk to them on a Slack channel or, WhatsApp channel. And another, bunch want to be told what's going on Google, Google spreadsheets or Google groups or emails. And the challenge, as a club president, a club organizer, in spreading the word is real, to try to, first of all, serve the different communications methods that your club members want, let alone trying to find new people to let them know about your club and bring them in. And so I just, at the end of that experience, I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great if we had our own social network that was just about paddle sports, that was just for kayaking, just for canoeing, and we could geek out, honestly, knowing that, we were on a platform where everybody was super enthusiastic about, what the weekend flows were going to be, and we could all talk, the same language and have fun, find each other. So
it was September of 2025 when you launched RallyCrew, right?
Correct. Yep.
You've been around about 6 months, and you've been building this online community that's really specific, mostly for whitewater paddlers, right?
Correct. It is primarily right now for whitewater paddlers. We wanted to make sure it worked before we spread it out to other disciplines.
Got it. Got it. So, all right. So I come from a marketing background. I'm a paddle sports organizer. You know this.
Yep.
So I certainly understand the dilemma that has been created in our social media world in terms of trying to do marketing for paddle sports events, right?
Yeah.
Facebook groups has a capability to bring paddlers together that has locked many of us into that platform. Mm-hmm. None of the other social media platforms have replaced that functionality of Facebook groups
yet.
But here you have launched a new online community, and you're trying to woo folks to this new platform. Let's talk about what they're going to get, why it's worth going to a new platform. What are the features you've built in so far?
Well, first I'll just say a lot of people are like, why should I join RallyCrew? And my response is, well, why wouldn't you? It's free. It's just like, yeah. There's no big barrier to entry. I would check it out if you were interested in paddle sports. What do you have to lose? And when you come and you check out RallyCrew, one of the first things that you'll discover is that RallyCrew invites you to create your own personal paddler profile. So again, it's that place where you get to geek out. You get to say, in my case, I'm Deborah. I'm a hardshell boater. I live in Portland, Oregon. My favorite runs in Oregon are these 5. I need redemption on, these 2 rapids. Goals or skills I'm working on are, stern squirts and feeling more comfortable, knowing that my role is reliable. And so you just lay out who you are as a boater. And the rationale behind that was, for sure people are and will be into the future finding people to go boating with on Facebook, but at some level you have no idea really who you're talking to and whether or not they're a good match for you and your goals. And so, there's a lot of questions like, do you like to put on the river and race to the takeout, or do you like to put on and catch every eddy and stop for lunch in the middle? Like, are we going to be aligned if we hang out together and go boating? Do we have the same goals, and do we run the river the same way? So on one hand, you'll encounter all these personal paddler profiles. And, one of my favorite features is you can search by location, watercraft, and skill level. So I could be visiting the East Coast and decide I want to, visit North Carolina, and I can hop onto RallyCrew and just say, show me all the hardshell boaters who run Class 3 in North Carolina. And the next thing you know, I'm perusing all of these profiles. And one of the other features, one of the other questions on the profile is simply, do you want to show visiting boaters down your local runs? Like, do you want to build community? Yeah. So I love that aspect. Just, people are joining right now from all over the world, and it's just cool. Like, it makes the paddling community, which is already small, feel even smaller because, a boater from Italy joined yesterday and a boater from Canada. And, every time somebody joins, I'm all over their profile because I'm just so excited about it. Yeah. So the profiles are really one of the features that I love the most. And then 2 others that I'll just mention, or maybe 3, trip logs. There's functionality where you can log every select runs that you do. And so once I've logged a trip, then all my friends can see it. Oh, Deborah was on the Clackamas yesterday. And, if they have a question about were there any logs down, were there any hazards, how did that flow feel? The system has just alerted them. Ask Deborah. She was just there. Right. So I love the trip logs. The other feature that I'm really excited about is the ability for organizers of events to post their event on RallyCrew. And, when I said I built RallyCrew because it fixed problems for me, I was missing whitewater events like left and right. People would be like, Boatsmith was so great last weekend. And I was like, what's Boatsmith? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And so now, because of the event functionality within RallyCrew, I can literally, search by event or by date and simply say, show me all the races or the festivals coming up in the month of April. And then I won't miss them, if I'm interested in them. So the event functionality is really, really dynamic and exciting right now. I think we have like at least 200, maybe 250 whitewater events on the RallyCrew calendar, more coming every day. The trip logs, there's been thousands of trip logs logged since people joined, and that's only, 6 months. And then the paddler profiles are really fantastic. And finally, I would just say, you mentioned that the groups, the group functionality and the way that Facebook's groups help people organized. And, I absolutely knew that when RallyCrew launched, we would be compared to Facebook. And so we've worked really hard to make sure that we have most of the functionality that Facebook has, including groups.
Got it. Okay. Well, and then you also have like businesses are listed there, guided tours and outfitters. So it sounds like it's an obvious solution for a whitewater boater that travels, that's trying to get beta or paddling buddies on a new river.
Yep.
It's or wants to find an outfitter or a tour in a new location, right?
Yep.
And it also is going to be a way to connect with folks going to the same festivals or events that you are.
Correct. And, my greatest hope is that it's also a fantastic resource for brand new boaters who are really just beginning to build their crew. It's called RallyCrew, starting to get to know people and organizing their own trips for the first time. They've graduated perhaps beyond, the club trip that introduced them to the sport. And how do they take that next step and organize their own trips? And I really hope that RallyCrew will be a big part of that for new boaters.
So, all right. I know it's only been 6 months. You're probably still like riding the wave of as people are finding you and kind of digging in.
Yep.
But what are some of the features that are coming soon? What can we look forward to?
The app. Everybody wants to know when the app will be released. So right now, RallyCrew is a website application. So you're going to interact with it, through your browser. But probably, I don't think it'll be too much longer. I mean, this spring for sure, we're releasing a native app so you can have it on your phone and take it everywhere you go. Other functionality coming soon is a marketplace. So we literally just loaded into the RallyCrew database into the back end 1,000 different types of boats. Basically every whitewater boat that was ever created, so that in a few weeks, you'll be invited to check through the list of boats that are in your quiver. And then you'll be able to toggle through, is that boat available for someone to borrow just because you're friendly and awesome? Or is that boat something that you want to rent to a visiting paddler? Or is that a boat that you want to sell? So there'll be added marketplace functionality, which I think will be really dynamic. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to seeing where all those old school boats are. I want to go in there.
I can immediately think of 2 or 3 emergency situations in the last couple of years where we had somebody that traveled and for whatever reason, the boat fell through. It didn't work out. It got damaged en route. Something happened. And here we are at the river and we need a boat.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to start searching, for kingpins or I don't know, super old school slicey boats or see what's still out there, which honestly that's kind of like the geek factor as well.
Right. So you and I were talking about this the other day, and I have to admit, your eyes lit up with this one question that I asked you, and I was like, long-term success. What would, if I'm talking to you 5-10 years from now, what would be the thing where you would know it had succeeded?
Well, first I want to just say, if it's not already obvious, I absolutely love whitewater kayaking.
Mm-hmm.
I love it so much. I started boating probably 10, 15 years ago. And, for me, RallyCrew is it's a gift back to the community that gave me so much. Changed my life, friendships, sense of self, the whole thing. I love it. And so for me, RallyCrew will be a success if it brings more people into the sport that I love. If, it creates, an entry point for people to feel the joy that I feel on the river, to feel the sense of connection and community that I feel with my boating crew. Nothing would make me happier than to bring more people into the sport. A. B, yep. I would love for people who come into the sport and all of us, in the sport who stay, I would love for us to have really good skills. And so I saw that in the club context, how important skill building is to enjoying the sport and to being safe. And so, that's the other aspect of RallyCrew that I really love is that people can level up. They can find courses, they can find instructors, they can they can be in, groups that are about everything, beginner boaters should know, or the group on, safety techniques and tricks that maybe you're not thinking of. Like I want us to geek out on safety. I want us to geek out on the proper, ferry technique so that you have fun on the river, but also so that you stay safe. So.
Wow. This is just flowing by. This sounds super exciting. I love that you're going global. You've only been out 6 months and you're already getting a global community going among Whitewater. I can't wait to see what this turns into. Congratulations on all your success so far.
Thank you very much. And you're right. I can't believe that we're done. Thank you for having me.
Oh, very happy to have you. Okay, so now everybody, just to keep you up to speed, our next live conversation will be Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking to Cosette Siebert from Alaska DNR. She's also with the National Association of State Boating Law Administrators. And nominations are open for the National Paddle Sports Committee Honors. So all those businesses, retailers, outfitters, brands that you want to nominate because they're doing a particularly good job with their social media presence and promoting safety and all the things that we know they need to do. This is our chance to hear all about how that process works and to nominate all those businesses that have supported us. So Cosette's going to be on Sunday. As always, I want to give my infinite gratitude to all of you for following Cross Currents Leadership on all channels. Many of you have figured out the trick. If you sign up on my Substack, you get the email updates, and that way all the updates come to you and you can watch them on demand if you're on your own time. And those of you in particular who made that choice to upgrade from the free subscription to make sure and keep me caffeinated and support our work here at Cross Currents Leadership, you have my heartfelt thanks. We appreciate your support. It makes live streams like this possible, and it's a big deal for us to be able to build this kind of thought leadership community. I appreciate you guys. Thank you again, Deborah. It's so good to have you on and to reconnect with you as always. And everybody, we'll just see you Sunday.